Hey guys, welcome back. In my last tutorial, we created a custom Solana token using the Token 2022 program. But right now, your token doesn't really have any value. It's just sitting there in your wallet. In this video, we're going to fix that. I'll show you how to give your token real market value by adding it to a liquidity pool on Raydium, so it becomes tradable on Solana, just like any other crypto token. A liquidity pool is basically a smart contract that holds two tokens, usually your token and SOL, or USDC. When people trade between these two tokens, the pool automatically adjusts the price depending on how much of each side remains. Think of it like a bucket with two sides, one for SOL, the other for your token. If traders buy your token, that side empties out and the price goes up. The key idea, liquidity equals tradability. Without a pool, there's no market. With a pool, anyone can buy and sell your token. This kind of system is known as an automated market maker, or AMM for short. Instead of using a traditional book order with buyers and sellers placing bids, an AMM uses a simple formula and a pool of tokens to automatically set prices. So whenever somebody trades, the pool rebalances itself. More of one token goes in, less of the other comes out, and the math instantly updates the price. That's what makes decentralized exchanges like Raydium and Orca possible. All of the pricing and liquidity happens on-chain without a central exchange matching orders. When you deposit liquidity, say 10 SOL and 10,000 of your token, you're defining the starting price. In that example, one token equals 0.001 SOL. Other users can now trade against that pool. If they buy your token, its price automatically rises. So adding liquidity is how you give your token its very first market value. There are several platforms that support liquidity pools on Solana: Raydium, Orca, Meteora, and Phoenix. In this tutorial, we're going to be using Raydium because it's the largest and most established AMM, and its pools automatically appear on Jupiter and Dexscreener, the two most popular Solana aggregators. Now this part's important. Raydium only runs on mainnet beta, so you can't add liquidity on DevNet. So if you followed my previous tutorial on DevNet, you'll need to mint your token again on mainnet first. Don't worry, the process is identical. Just switch your RPC to mainnet beta before you mint. We're going to go through that process right now, and I'll show you exactly how to mint your token to mainnet. After that, we'll set up a liquidity pool to give your token value and make it tradable on Solana. So before we get started, here are a couple of things you'll need to have first. First of all, a Phantom wallet, and you'll need to make sure that's funded with enough SOL to cover all of the fees, including the minting fee and the fee for the liquidity pool setup. I'm guessing that's going to be somewhere between $5 and $10 total worth of SOL, but the mileage may vary based on when you're doing this, time of day, time of year, etc. Now the other thing, and you may have this set up already if you've gone through my previous video creating a token on Solana, but if you're on a Windows system, you'll need to have Windows subsystem for Linux set up, and then all of your commands will be issued through the Ubuntu terminal. If you want a more detailed instruction on that setup, as well as the token minting process, I encourage you to go through that video first, and that's linked in the description below. Otherwise, you can follow along here, that's fine. It's just that we're going to go through the token minting process in this video fairly quickly so we can get straight to the liquidity pool section. Okay guys, so for this tutorial, there is a companion GitHub repo, which I will link in the description of the video. And this is going to contain all of the steps that we go through. So it'll be a good resource for you to copy and paste commands as we go, if you want to. So let's start by scrolling down on the README to step 3, mint your token on mainnet beta. Now the first thing we're going to do is set up our CLI to point towards mainnet. If you remember in the last video, we did a similar step to point towards DevNet. So I'm going to open up my terminal and go ahead and paste in that first command. Okay, and we can see that our CLI is now pointed towards mainnet. Let's move on. Okay, so for the next step, we're going to actually create our mainnet wallet. Let's go ahead and copy both of these commands here and paste those into the terminal. Okay, so passphrase, I'm just going to keep it empty. Okay, perfect. Now I'm going to go ahead and copy the information right here, especially my public key, and just dump that into Notepad for future reference. Okay, so for the next step, what we need to do is fund our wallet. And first we need to import the wallets that we just created into our Phantom wallet. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and grab the path right here of the output file of the key pair. And let's go back to the terminal, and I'm going to do a cat for concatenate, and then paste that location right there. Now that's going to bring up the raw bits of the password, so I'm going to go ahead and copy everything, including the array brackets. Make sure that's copied to your clipboard, and then let's open up Phantom, and I'm going to say I already have a wallet. Import private key, and make sure that's on Solana. Let's say, well, name it anything you want. I'll name mine Block Explorer Wallet, paste my key in there, and import. Okay, so now you're going to create a new password. Let's just say Block Explorer. Looks like I already have an account somewhere, so let's just say Block Explorer 1. And of course, give it any name that you want here. Click Continue. Get started. Okay, so now that my wallet is set up, I can go ahead and enter my password to log in. Now what I'm going to want to do is either somehow purchase SOL or transfer it from an exchange or another wallet so that you have enough to at least cover the gas fees for what we're going to be doing. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and go ahead and fund my wallet. Okay, so I funded my wallet with about $28. Hopefully that'll be enough for everything we want to do here. And with that, let's go ahead and move on to the next section, mint tokens. And let's go ahead and execute this first command to actually mint our token using the Token 2022 program. Same thing we did in the last tutorial. So I'm going to go ahead and run that in the terminal. Okay, and once that's completed, let's grab the mint address, very important. I'm just going to grab all of this actually. Paste that in Notepad, and then I'm just going to copy this down here so we know that's the mint address. Okay. All right, so now that we've got that minted, we can go ahead and the next step is to create our token account so that our wallet can actually hold that type of token. So I'm going to copy this next command, and I'm going to bring that back into Notepad, and let's go ahead and copy the mint address right here where the placeholder is. Now let's go ahead and copy that and run that command. Okay, and this is our token account. So again, I'm gonna just need to grab this part and make sure we have our token account saved somewhere safe in Notepad or anywhere else. Okay, let's go to the next step. Mint your initial supply. So let's grab this command right here. And now this number you can change to be whatever you want your total token supply to be. I'm going to stick with, well, I might change it. Let's stick with 1 million. So I'm going to paste that command in Notepad. And again, we want to replace the mint address placeholder here with our mint address. Perfect. All right, now I'm going to grab this whole command. And I'll tell you what, let's do 10 million. Okay. And let's go ahead and execute that command as well. Okay, and then again, I'm just going to save this data and sort of dump it into Notepad for now. I'll organize this a little bit better later, but just so we have everything saved here. Go ahead and save that file. All right, so let's go ahead and quickly verify that our token exists and that the correct amount have been transferred to our wallet, which should happen automatically. So we can do spl-token accounts, and that should give us our token and the balance in our wallet, which that looks correct, about 10 million. Now, there's another thing we can do is verify our token on Etherscan, on on the Block Explorer page for Solana, whatever it's called, I forgot, explorer.solana.com. So if you just scroll down a little bit from mint tokens, there is a URL that we can modify. So let's go ahead and paste that into Notepad. And we just have to substitute our mint address here. So I'm going to grab that. Pop that in here. And let's go ahead and copy the whole thing. And let's go to the browser. Paste that in your URL window. Perfect. So we should see an entry for our token here. It says unknown token, no symbol, because we haven't initialized any kind of metadata yet. But we can see that this matches our mint address and that the correct number of supply is shown here. Now, another thing we can do is make sure that we can see our token in Phantom Wallet. So if you open it up right away, you're probably not going to see it because Phantom Wallet doesn't load custom tokens. Right off the bat, we sort of have to tell it where to look. So if we just grab our mint address, that's the key piece of information that it needs. And let's figure out where to add that. It's either going to be here, manage tokens maybe. Is this it right here? Check. C2. Yep. Looks like it's found it already. So all we have to do, I think, is just pop this toggle on, close it, and perfect. So we see the 10 million. Null is the ticker symbol, again, just because we haven't specified that, as well as the name and the logo. That's going to be the next step. Okay, so let's go ahead and initialize our token metadata. Now we'll be using a service called Storacha, which we also used in the last video. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up. And this is basically a service that will pin your uploads metadata and image file to IPFS, Interplanetary File System. So what you want to do is, and you can link from the README over to Storacha, go ahead and create an account if you don't have one. I've got one already, so I'm going to click on Start Storing. And what you'll want to do is create a workspace, or they call it spaces, I think. I've already got one from the last tutorial, so I'm going to click into here, and I'm going to go ahead and start by uploading my image first. Now the companion repository includes two sample folders, one called My Token, and that includes a sample image and a sample metadata file. So what you can do is replace this with your own image, and then in the metadata file, replace all the references of My Token with your token name. Now I'm going to use the Block Explorer folder because that's all set up for my particular token. Okay, so that being said, let's go back to Storacha and let's upload our file first. Let's upload our image file first. So I'm going to click on Upload, and I'm going to browse for my image file on my hard drive. So that's going to be somewhere in here, Liquidity Pool Tutorial, Block Explorer, and there's my image file. So let's go ahead and upload that. Perfect. Now what we're going to want to do is copy this little ID right here that it returns. This is a CID, which is a sort of hash of the uploaded content. And we'll need this to plug into our metadata file to reference the image that we just uploaded. So I'm going to go in my IDE and go ahead and open up the metadata file. Yours might be under My Token, or if you've renamed it to your token's name in that folder. Okay, so what we're going to want to do is grab our image URL and paste it into the two locations in the metadata.json file. So let's go back to Storacha and let's drill into our image, which should be the earlier of the two right here. Let's click on URL, and I just like to grab the full URL from here. So let's click on that and kind of verify that we see it in the browser. I'm going to grab this entire URL and then come back into my IDE and substitute that with the placeholders here. Oops. Save that file. Okay, now the next step, we're going to upload the metadata to Storacha, the metadata.json file. So let's click on Upload Another. And let's browse to that location on our hard disk and go ahead and upload the metadata. Okay, now you'll want to also copy this CID, and I'm going to go ahead and save this in Notepad, and I'll just make a little note so I know what this is. This is metadata CID. Okay. Okay, so the next step is to actually associate our token with that metadata on Solana, which we can do by issuing the initialize metadata command. So if we scroll down here to step 4, let's go ahead and copy this into Notepad so we could build out the proper command. Okay, so first let's replace the mint address. I can grab that right here. And then we'll want to update the token name and ticker symbol. So I'll say block explorer, and I think we said BEX. Now, what we want to do is replace this entire URL to our metadata file on Storacha. So let's go to the web interface and let's go ahead and click into the metadata, and I'm going to click on URL. And I just like to grab the direct, fully qualified IPFS URL. So I click on metadata.json, and we can see the file right here. So let's just grab that URL from the browser, and let's go ahead and replace that with the placeholder URL. Okay, now we can grab that entire command, and let's go ahead and issue it in the terminal. And give that a minute or two, and we can go back and check our wallet. And perfect, looks like we see our logo and all of our metadata. Okay, so we can move on to the next step, which is creating our liquidity pool. Okay, let's go ahead and set up our liquidity pool. Now this is what's going to give our token an initial value and make it tradable on the market. So if we scroll down in the README to the liquidity pool section, and we're looking for step 8, let's go ahead and open the Raydium link in a new tab. Okay, so let's go ahead and connect our wallet first. Choose Phantom. Okay, wallet is connected. Now what we want to do is go to the liquidity section from the top menu. And what we're going to do is create a new pool. So let's do, right, so let's choose standard AMM. Continue. All right, now here's where you want to pause a bit and kind of think about your liquidity pool strategy. So, if you minted 1 million or 10 million tokens, you have all that in your wallet right now. You probably don't want to use all of that for the pool right away. I'd suggest to start small. That way you have more leverage down the road to add to your liquidity later. You'll have plenty of tokens left over for things like airdrops and other kind of distributions. Now, I did add some more funds to my wallet, and the reason for that is because if you look down here, there is a base fee of 0.2 Sol for setting up a new pool. So I'm not sure, I think that's in addition to gas fees. Don't quote me on that. But anyway, I just wanted to make sure that I had enough left over after that to, give some sort of substantial base to the token pair. And the thing is, I'm starting pretty small, obviously. So 93 minus 0.2 Sol minus gas fees, that's not going to be a lot of initial value. So I'm going to pair it with a small amount of tokens, and then I can always come back later and add more liquidity whenever I want to. So let's start small for today and just to see how it goes. All right, so the base token, this is going to be your token. So what I'm going to do is go back to my notepad and grab my mint address, because that's what I'll need to look it up. All right, so let's click into the token here and paste in our address. All right, and let's say add user token. I'm not sure why my name isn't showing up, but I guess it's just a matter of time. Okay, and select token. Okay, great. Now for the quote token, that's going to be the token that we're pairing it against, which in most cases it's going to be Sol. But if you have like a different kind of token, you might use USDC or something like that. Okay, so let's click into the value here, and I think I'm only going to use like 100,000 initially. And then let's see what we can do for Sol. Let's see, I've got 0.4 minus, so let's say like 0.25. So that'll be just shy of $50. So $50 against 100,000 tokens. Obviously, each token is going to start with a pretty low value here, but that's enough just to get us going. All right, and hopefully that I left enough for the base fee. Let's click on Initialize Liquidity Pool. Okay, and we'll have to confirm that transaction in our wallet. Great, so our pool has been created. And the disclaimer here says it may take a few minutes before this shows up in the pool list. Kindly wait, refresh the page. That kind of goes without saying. Anytime you do anything blockchain, it's going to take a while for those confirmations to come through. So for now, I'm going to just click on my AMM ID. That stands again for Automated Market Maker. So I'm just going to go ahead and find some place to store this. say liquidity pool, AMM ID, and save that. All right, so let's take a look and see if our pool has been created. So I'm going to grab our AMM ID, and we'll just paste that into the search bar right here. And there it is. There's our Solana Block Explorer token pair. And the good news is my logo is showing up now, as well as the name, so that just takes some time. Don't worry if you don't see it initially. This setup allows anyone to swap between the two tokens, and the price of our token is determined automatically based on the ratio of liquidity in the pool. So over here you can see some of the live metrics. Liquidity shows the total value locked in the pool. Volume 24 shows how much has been traded in the past day. Free 24 shows how much liquidity providers have earned from trades. And the APR gives an estimate of the annual yield from providing liquidity. So over on the right, when you click deposit, that's how you'd add more liquidity. You're basically putting in equal amounts of Solana and your token, and in return, you'll earn a small share of the trading fees. And that's it. Our token now exists on chain, has metadata and a logo, is tradable through a live Raydium pool, and from here it's automatically discoverable on both Jupiter and the Solana DEX aggregators. All right, so just to prove that everything's working, let's go ahead and try a simple token swap. So I'm going to go to the swap tab here, and let's just take a look in my wallet just to get a baseline. So I've got 0.4782 SOL and 9.9 million Block Explorer. Okay, so what we're going to do, let's do a swap from SOL to Block Explorer. So I'm buying some of my own token. Now, you can see that SOL is grayed out here. Now, the way to fix that is to actually first populate the to token, my token, and then it's not able to resolve it until we sort of point it towards it, and then for some reason SOL becomes available again. I don't know if it's a glitch or by design, but so what we'll do is grab the mint address. Okay, and let's populate that by clicking here. Let it find our token. Okay, good, select that. Now we can go back to the from, and we should be able to select SOL. Yep, there we go. All right, so let's see, I'll just test a small amount. Let's say, definitely got to leave some for gas. All right, let's say 0.01. All right, and that'll give us 2,622 of our token. Let's go ahead and click on swap. And that'll ask us to confirm the transaction. Swap confirmed. Okay. And let's check our wallet and see if the values have changed. Yep, so I can definitely see some SOL has been decremented. Now, I guess I can't really prove that I have more Block Explorer token to give me an exact number. Because I have so many, it sort of truncates the number. But anyway, looks like the swap worked. And our token is tradable. Now I think a better way to check my own balance would be through the command line interface rather than in my wallet where it sort of truncates the value because it's so big. Let's see, didn't I have some kind of confirmation command here? Yeah, this one right here. Okay, so let's spl-token accounts. I think that's what I'm looking for. Let's try that out. There we go. So there we can see the proof of that swap. So I've got 9.9 million plus 2,622 or whatever I just bought. Now that should also mean, since I've purchased some of my own token, the price of my token, the value of my token has gone up ever so slightly. And so that's kind of how the AMM works, where supply and demand dictates the value of the tokens in the pair. All right, so I think that about wraps it up for this one. Yeah, one of the great things about Solana is how easily and quickly you're able to do things. I mean, in a couple of minutes, you can launch a token and make it tradable. And also, it's fairly cheap, I would say. I mean, to launch the token to mainnet, it cost me about $1. And then the liquidity pool cost about $40. So Very reasonable, especially compared to my past token launches on Ethereum. Yeah, so if you guys liked the video, if you found it helpful, that'd be great if you could like and subscribe. And until then, take care, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.